Well, we haven't had a chat around the defense procurement tsunami and its resultant community impact for some time. And because of a certain series of events recently, I thought it incumbent that we do get together and update everyone on kind of what we're thinking. So, Ray and Kurt, thank you for joining me and expanding upon the following idea. Okay. So there have been several Sydney Breakfast Club meetings. And for those not aware of what that is, it's a Lower Vancouver Island industry networking group that is full of industry folks. We call it inadvertently the Sydney Business Incubator. So we're trying to do business development. The themes of those meetings have been clear and evident, and that companies working together are stronger than independently. They share ideas, they share operational benefits, they share products. It's really showing up in some of these conversations. We had a tour of industry, incidentally, today, in which about 20 folks came to the AML oceanographic facilities, one of the world-class advanced marine technology companies located here on the peninsula. And it was remarkable how much, synergy there was amongst that company, the attendees, other companies. And so, we've been chatting about this and how it would be great if there was some way to, if we could just start to have everyone talk to each other
Mhm.
and share business ideas and share business development. Out of that came this branding of a Team Vancouver Island. And we're all like, ha ha ha. But you know what? It has some validity. It has some, value to talk that way. And you guys kind of got interested. What do you folks think about what I'm talking about here?
Well, from my perspective, and you've heard me say it before, John, we're at a once in a generation inflection point. Canada is making massive long-term defense investments, and Vancouver Island is at the epicenter, not the periphery. From Ottawa, we look like the resting place for the newlywed and the nearly dead, separated by the Rocky Mountains and three time zones. The reality is, we are the gateway to the Indo-Pacific and the world. We are the beginning of the country. And the notion of a Team Vancouver Island approach is to embrace opportunity so that opportunity isn't flowing through Vancouver Island, but actually now to it. So,
Mhm.
Team Vancouver Island is about changing the narrative by aligning industry, Indigenous partners, academia, all levels of government into a coordinated defense ready ecosystem right here at home on Vancouver Island.
Well, that's great.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
if this was a political policy, that would be the stump speech. That was so impressive. And along the way to the races to this Team Vancouver Island notion, Ray has started a year ago, 14 months ago, Vancouver Island Manufacturing Excellence Alliance, which is exactly what we're really talking about here, which
Mm.
is taking, companies taking advantage of their products and benefits and brains and creating a larger, better, more impressive value to Ottawa, to defense industry, to the primes. What do you think of this, Ray?
Well, we started this rain house in 2001, and I think it's because of my background in northern BC. I was very much into, sharing resources with other people in the business. And when I first came to Victoria, that wasn't very easy to do. And but over the years, we twisted some arms and convinced some people that, collaboration is good. So we've done this pretty repeatedly on a small scale. So we have a group of, several companies that we draw on regularly to bid on things that we couldn't do ourselves. So really, Vimeo is an outgrowth of that. And that's possibly because of what's going on. I'm pretty sure it is because of what's happening geopolitically, that people are receptive.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
getting
daily uh, people calling us and talking to us about what's Vimeo about and how do we get into it. And why is that? Is because people are starting to see the opportunity. And we are on an island. We're surrounded by water. And so we have this ecosystem
Yeah.
that can very well coordinate if we learn to communicate. So I was telling you before this, I just went to visit Nicholson Manufacturing, and we were handling some big steel plates, doing things that are not normal for us. So I reached out to them and said, "Hey, like, can you help us with this kind of thing?" And they said, "Absolutely." And they're built for that. So that's just a tiny example of how collaboration works. If you just communicate
Yeah.
and get to know what's in your neighborhood, then you start to treat those companies like they're your friends, right? So, and it's not going to work all the time. Not everybody plays well, but you learn how to deal with that. And I think we're at this perfect point where Vimeo is an example of how manufacturing can get together, but your whole Team Vancouver Island concept sounds like all the other
Sectors.
opportunities
Yeah,
are really there and
sure.
available and receptive. So this is the moment where we can actually make this work.
If we connect the dots,
Yeah,
we start to look very, very large. And that's important in this world. When we're fighting against the big primes in Canada on the defense side, like C-SPAN, like Babcock, sure you have several others,
yeah,
Kirk. Imagine, here's the vision. Imagine the beauty of this. You phoning somebody in Port Alberni, maybe the Colson Aviation Company for something,
yeah,
and they phone Mark Breyer, CEO of Comox Nations Economic Development Corporation. They're able to
yeah,
provide some help, and
yeah,
then somebody in Campbell River is further able to help. They have some sort of an aviation manufacturing hub up there. Doesn't that start to look pretty frickin' cool to me? Yes, it does, and to
Hmm.
Ottawa, frankly, and to the
yeah.
world.
Yeah. Well, I'll challenge one thing you said of we're fighting the primes. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they would appreciate the opportunity to just have a button to push. And they don't have to manage 50 companies or 100 companies. Let's nail it down to one organization that is reliable that you can
Yes.
go to.
Yes.
So it makes a lot of efficiencies not only for us but for those bigger opportunities. And that's not just primes, right? It's government.
Yeah, and I would echo that, noting that, you know, subject or the SMEs have difficulty navigating today's procurement system. But similarly, I would say the defense primes have difficulty accessing SMEs who can help them
Hmm.
with procurement and supply chain solutions.
Yeah.
We've got problems that we've had. Engagement is inconsistent or late with the primes. I look primarily here at the submarine proponents. Their engagements have been very profound, I think, with some major partners, but with the SMEs, it has maybe been less than ideal. The SMEs have no regional presence at major defense events, cost being a barrier and time. And we've got all the ingredients here on Vancouver Island, but really no recipe to pull it together. So I think organizations like Vimea enabling a Team Vancouver Island approach actually pull together all of the ingredients, are part of the recipe that's going to deliver, a delicious meal, but more importantly, real wealth, real jobs, real opportunity, real future for communities north to south across the island.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know why we wouldn't do this. We've just demonstrated the value.
Mhm.
We have been consistent in our vision. We have been consistent in our commitment. Now, since Trump decided to, in retrospect, start destroying the world, and Canada has effectively changed their economy, it's time that we actualize this vision and say to everyone, we are the very first bits and pieces of a Team Vancouver Island, building upon the great success of the Vancouver Island Manufacturing Excellence Alliance. Let's do it, guys. What's stopping us?
Nothing at all. So that's the thing about SMEs. We're lean, mean, and we're hungry. And
Mhm.
when the opportunity is there, we'll see it, right? It's just to do it in a coordinated fashion is the big challenge.
Coordination is
Yeah,
key. If you know, that is absolute key. We can call it anything we want.
Mhm.
Okay. Fundamentally, it means businesses working together towards achieving a common goal.
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that there's actual concrete measures that can be taken that are, relatively low cost if we all work together. For instance, advocating for that secure funding from the provincial and federal level and municipal levels to allow a Team Vancouver Island, presence in Team Vancouver Island pavilions at events like CanSec or DefSec Atlantic or,
Oh,
the
that's so exciting.
ABCMI business conferences, so that's easy. Political alignment. So let's get, our provincial and federal leaders on the island to convene multi-party gatherings,
Yes.
create awareness of the problem across the political level at the federal, provincial, and even local and indigenous levels, so that we can actually create shared awareness and build irreversible momentum to address the challenges that we've talked about. Let's leverage some of the known events that are coming up. We know that throughout the calendar year there are numerous high profile events from St. John's to Halifax to Calgary to Ottawa to Vancouver to Victoria. Let's selectively pick those events and build that Team Vancouver Island approach. Let's strengthen the role of some of the industry associations. We already talked about VMIA, but there's VIA, there's Viatech, there's ABCMI, there's Coast. There's a whole acronym soup out there that can serve as conveners, trusted regional voices. They have the ability to connect across their networks, as Ray pointed out, and help create alignment and build synergy across the SMEs. So there's lots of things that we can do that are relatively low cost, and we should be doing them like now.
If I had a drink, I'd say I'd give a toast to Team Vancouver Island, but I don't. But I will
Yeah,
shortly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's not quite
so,
happy hour yet.
yes. So to all of the folks that this digital interview reaches, which between the three of our networks is a considerable size, please be aware that there will be now a Team Vancouver Island brand, and we're going to build upon it. And anyone who wants to jump on board, there's no fees, there's no nothing. There, the criteria is healthy business collaboration, and working towards providing, as Kurt, you've indicated from day one, healthier communities, strong communities, and who doesn't want that? Certainly, Vancouver Island citizens want that. So
Mhm.
we will keep everyone updated with our progress.